Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be explaining the relationship between the suprachiasmatic nucleus and the paraventricular nucleus, as well as how that relates to you waking up. So, as you can see, we have finished chapter 9 of Brain Facts, and now we are moving into chapter 10. So, just so you guys know, we are actually hitting the halfway mark now. We are slightly past it as well. And what this means is that it's time for you to go back and review everything you've learned until this point, because from here on outwards, it's just learning about the types of psychological diseases, neurodegenerative diseases, and childhood diseases, etc. Just a lot of information, and it's a lot of scope for you to get kind of confused. And in addition, these chapter 9 and chapter 10 can get pretty overlooked, but they are very important to the brain bee competition. So just make sure that you're constantly reviewing. All right, so this video is made on the assumption that you understand how the suprachiasmatic nucleus works. I've actually made a video on this that I can link in the description, as well as make sure to post a link to it in the comments section as well. But make sure that if you don't know how the suprachiasmatic nucleus, abbreviated as the SCN, works, make sure that you know how that works, because you won't really understand much if you don't understand how that works. All right, so first, we know that the SCN maintains the biological clock in your brain, right? So that 24-hour cycle, what it does is it takes input from the sun or your surroundings, from your retina, and located in the hypothalamus is your suprachiasmatic nucleus right here that produces clock proteins, expresses clock genes, and then degrades in a cycle of 24 hours that allows you to kind of get a sense of time. Now, how do you actually get the sensation of feeling sleepy, right? Or how does your body know when it's time to shut down? Well, that is actually started by a substance, or actually a hormone, I should say, which I'm sure you all are very familiar with, but it's called, melatonin. All right. So melatonin is a type, is a hormone, right? Oops, apologize. All right. So melatonin is a hormone secreted to induce sleep behavior. So melatonin, you guys have probably heard of melatonin gummies, or any substance containing melatonin is mainly used to induce sleep. Remember, this should not be confused with melanin. Okay, melanin is a completely different substance. Let me change my color to brown so that you're able to identify. Melanin is the pigment cells located in your cells, your skin cells. That is not melatonin. Melatonin is sleep, melanin is skin color. Um, so how is melanin actually released? Well, melanin is released using um, signals from the paraventricular nucleus. So the paraventricular nucleus, abbreviated as PVN, receives signals from the suprachiasmatic nucleus, right? And then it integrates it, and then it causes the release of melatonin. Melatonin will then work with all other parts of your body, such as the orexin systems, the VLPO, etc., to start shutting down your brain and getting it ready to go to sleep. And then it will also make sure that your body goes through homeostatic shifts, for example, controlling your hormone levels and basically getting the body ready for rest and digest. So that is the relationship between the SCN and PVN. The main thing you need to know is that the PVN receives signals from the SCN that then causes the release of melatonin. All right. So now what we're going to do is identify, how do you actually wake up after you sleep, right? So, okay, melanin induces sleep. So what happens? How do you go from the sleep state to the wake state? Well, first, what happens is that you have a a hormone known as cortisol in your body. So you guys may be familiar with cortisol, but it's actually the stress hormone of your body, right? So it's a stress hormone and it's a corticosteroid. And why this is important is that cortisol levels will actually peak. Okay, they peak. Let me see if I can. They peak in the morning, right? So that is what makes you wake up. So remember, your cortisol is what's waking you up. How I like to think about it is that when you're stressed, you're more awake. So cortisol levels will usually peak in the morning time. In addition, what's really important here is that your internal body temperature rises. So what does that mean? You internal body temperature is the temperature that your body maintains like in your core. This is regulated by blood flow. So regulating factors include, I'm going to change my color to orange, blood flow, um, muscle movement, etc. And as your internal body temperature rises, what this does is it allows for metabolic rates to begin rising, right? So as you have more heat, your digestive systems begin to kick up, your body starts to shift from your resting state to a more active state. And since remember, metabolism basically means the processing of energy, right? Metabolism is processing of energy. And why this is so important is that when your metabolism or metabolic rates begin to rise, it means that you're able to process or able to create more energy. Able to create more energy. Okay? So once you're able to create more energy, so remember, internal body temperature rises, which activates metabolic rates or increases metabolic rates. And then because you're able to produce energy, your body has enough energy to wake up. So remember, the two requirements for you to wake up is for peaking in cortisol levels as well as making sure internal body temperature rises so that your metabolic rates begin to rise. All right, so that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, as always, please post it down in the comment section and I will do my best to answer as soon as possible. Bye, everyone. Thank you.